It is another new bike day, but it's not in a box this time. I don't have to assemble it, although there's going to be a lot of disassembling because I have a brand new tuttio. And boy, is it a looker. This thing is absolutely beat. And I got it for a steal, but there's a reason for that because it doesn't run. So let's find out what's wrong with it and get it running. Ain't she a beaut, Clark? No, far from it. In fact, where there isn't dirt and grime, there's scratches and overspray. This thing is as beat as it could possibly be. And one of the reasons that I got this, not only because it's super cheap, but I feel like this is a good candidate to show you that you can actually buy broken bikes and fix them up and get something working and running for much less than the cost of even a used bike that's in perfect working order. So at this point, I literally know nothing about this bike. All I've done with this so far is just bought it, brought it here, take it out of the car, and that I know from it is that when you put in the key and turn it on, absolutely nothing happens. And I can see that the battery is connected. And as I go through this, you'll see it as well. We'll go through this diagnosis step by step, at least what I would do in identifying the problem so that I can fix it and we can have a working bike. Now, I hope that this is a really easy fix, but this is one of those things where it could go any which way. It could be something as simple as the fact that maybe this wire right here, which connects to the key, is just not plugged in. I just need to plug it back in. Or it could be something more catastrophic, something that actually needs to be replaced, a big ticket item like maybe the controller is absolutely fried or the battery is just popped. I might need to throw a couple $100s at this, but I'm really hoping that it's something simple and that we can be able to fix this for next to nothing. And then who knows, maybe I can flip it, make a little money. So first things first is get to that battery and unplug it because whatever's wrong with this is definitely electrical and I don't want that connected to any kind of power source. And then we can take a look at the battery from there. And it actually makes sense to take a voltmeter and probe the battery, see what it's actually at voltage-wise. Wow, see that? 17 volts. This is deader than dead. And just for reference, a dead battery, 0% on a 48 volt is about 39 volts. And this is less than half that. Yikes. I'm not sure what good this will do, but I got it plugged in. It says it's charging, but I don't know. We'll see if it does anything. But in the meantime, I actually have a second tuttio battery from the orange one. This one is brand new, basically, and fully charged. So I'm gonna put this one into this bike, plug it in, and see if that fixes it. Maybe it's as simple as just a battery swap. Nah. Well, it's not an easy fix, unfortunately. Got it all plugged in, and then still dead. So it's not as simple as just swapping out the battery. So we got to get behind this panel right here to see the electronics. And another thing that I noticed as I was looking down there is that if you can see the bottom of the battery tray, this is where it's flat and this is at an angle. So this is actually popped out and it looks like there was some missing hardware right here and right here where that's supposed to go in. So this has clearly been messed with or abused. Well, at the side of this, yeah, this bike has been abused. Not giving me high hopes, but I don't know. We'll pull out the rest of that tray and see what's behind it. Okay, now we can see everything underneath. Thankfully, this bike is not very complicated. There's not much going to this. So we have two sets of orange wires down here, the big 3-phase wires that are going into this side of the controller. We also have the positive and negative for the battery, which is also on this side of the controller. And then here we have basically everything else. And really what that boils down to is some Hall sensor wires, again, going to the motor, and then just 2 wires going up to the handlebars. We have a brake switch here, which doesn't really matter. And then we have this one, which goes to the throttle assembly, which is also the key, which is also the display. So it's probably going to be something either with this or maybe underneath here. I'm going to check under here first because who knows, maybe something is loose in here and it's just not getting power at all. This is either a promising sign or a bad sign that this screw is just spinning. Someone's been in here one too many times. People need to realize that this is only going into plastic, so they don't have to wrench on this thing. It just needs to be barely snug, that's it. There we go. You see that? All that plastic material on the screw, it's stripped. But now we can lift the curtain and see what's underneath here. Good signs are that I don't see anything burnt or fried because this is where you would see it on the controller. And all of these connections thankfully look nice and tight, and they're in the right places. Everything's the right color. Okay, so far the battery leads look okay. So now we can move to the other side of the controller, which is right here. This is everything else, basically. Now I pulled this back, and you can see underneath here that everything looks good. There's no obvious signs of disconnections or frayed or broken wires. Everything's where it should be. It still has the original waterproof sealant around this thing, so these things haven't moved, which is a good sign. That means that at least this hasn't been tampered with. But we can make our way back up the wiring harness to the other side where all these connections go and just see what we see. Oh, and just like that, I found something blatantly obvious and very, very wrong. Let me show you. So this connection is the main one that goes to that throttle key display assembly. So this is basically all of the wiring that we need to look at. And one of the things that you can see are some indicators right here. There's an arrow, and that's not an arrow. Where's that arrow? If we rotate it, there's the arrow. So what that means is, okay, yep, and this is really hard to get off. So what that means is someone literally put this in backwards. And now if we line up those arrows and reconnect it, maybe that did it. Let's plug in the battery, see if that did anything. Hey, look at that. Fired right up. All right, so woke up. It's a little angry right now. It's beeping and it is flashing an error code, so it's E08. So we can look on Tuttio's manual and see what that refers to, and hopefully that we can find a fix for it. So I took a closer look at that error message on the manual, E08, and guess what? It's a throttle error, go figure, which means the throttle isn't working properly. And I figured that I could maybe get away with connecting it with a Bluetooth app and doing an auto learn to see if it can coax it back to life, but unfortunately that's not the case. The throttle did absolutely nothing, so the throttle is 100% busted. Now, I put out a few feelers to get a replacement throttle, but in the meantime, I decided to strip down the bike entirely so I can focus on the other aspect of this bike in order to sell it or whatever with it, which is cleanup, because this thing is absolutely trash. So hopefully I could be able to at least get some of that god-awful spray paint off of this bike, and so that it actually, you know, kind of looks presentable.
So while we wait on a throttle, I found one, so it's getting shipped to me, and while we clean up the frame, you might be wondering why I'm riding around the orange Tuttio, but that's because this has that bike's battery. The battery's actually good. It's funny, during all of this, I actually got these two batteries of the Tuttios flipped, and I was probing the new battery, the orange battery, and realized that that one was also showing 17 to 18 volts. I have no idea why. Does anyone know why, when you probe this, it shows 17 volts, but it's actually at the full 48. All this to say that the battery in that bike is actually good, so I don't have to find another battery. I pretty much just have to buy a throttle.
But back to cleaning, and the pressure washer actually did a pretty good job of revealing everything that had spray paint on it, but now it's time to finish the job with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and try to get the rest of this paint off of there. And you might think that that's a bit tedious, but it actually works. You can see we're starting to see the logo here, and you haven't seen the other side of this bike yet. Yeah, it turns out a lot can be done with some rubbing alcohol and a lot of elbow grease. You saw what it looked like before, and now it looks like it's practically new. See that? That is paint coming off the bike. I'm thankful that whoever did this actually did a really, really bad job. But it's not just the frame, there was a lot of things that were painted. Like I discovered that the rear shock was painted. It was previously orange, and now it's kind of both. It's orange and black. I couldn't get all of it off of there, so it's got a nice Halloween-y vibe, but that's fine because I actually like this shock so much so that I put it on a different bike and swapped it out. So now this one has a clean white one, and now we have to address the front forks. And with these ones, they're just too far gone at this point. The white paint is really difficult to get off, even with a lot of elbow grease, and the paint is actually on some vital components where paint should not be. I don't know what this kid was thinking, but that part of the fork is supposed to go inside of itself so that way it actually can compress and be used as suspension. Now, it doesn't compress at all. It's useless. Thankfully, I have spares for my 60-volt Mototech, so I can swap those out easy peasy. Jesus Christ. I think the axle's painted on too. There. Oh my God, I just realized. There are no spacers on this thing. You're kidding me. I think the title of this video should be something like, I'm slowly realizing that I'm making myself insane by trying to fix a kid's bike, because this is just straight up insanity. I mean, we've already addressed the fact that this has paint on it where it really shouldn't be, and look, it was orange, go figure. But now we can see the backside of this. This rotor was scraping on the bracket because, again, there's no spacers in here. So what that means is that the front wheel was just kind of suspended in this, really only being held in by the caliper. So every time that was being squeezed with the front brake, it was actually just pushing the wheel into that caliper. There's a reason why there's spacers, people. But anyway, deep breaths, we'll calm down, take off the forks, clean everything up, put some new ones on, and put some proper spacers in there where they should be. We're in the final stretch now. The bike is sitting on brand new suspension, both front and rear, that's not covered in paint, and I got the missing piece to the puzzle, a brand new throttle that I found for 25 bucks on eBay. As you can see, it's plugged in and it works. Now we just gotta finish putting everything back together. And I figure while I'm at it, I might as well go into the Far Driver app and make a few changes to give this just a little bit extra from what it would have normally stock as a nice selling point when I flip it. So all told, to fix up this bike, I spent a whopping $32, $25 for the throttle like I mentioned, and $7 for a big old bottle of rubbing alcohol. And admittedly, I had a few parts that were laying around, like the forks, and I swapped out the rear shock and the spacers and a couple other small things, but all of that would have cost you about, give or take, 200 bucks new. But it's a good excuse for an upgrade because, let's be honest, a lot of us would have replaced that stuff anyway, even if these components were working perfectly fine. The point is, don't be afraid to look at trashed bikes on Facebook Marketplace, because while the bike may be trashed, if the frame is good, generally everything else can be either fixed up, cleaned up, or just straight up replaced. It gives you a better understanding of the inner workings inside an electric dirt bike, and you'll have more appreciation for the bike because you built it yourself, and who knows, you may have scored a huge deal. In my case, I was able to list it for $100 less than everybody else for a quick sale, a really quick sale, like 45 minutes quick sale, and I still netted $300 profit, which was the whole goal of this thing, make a little bit of money so that way I can funnel it into the other Tuttio Soleil 01. So that way we can turn this into the Soleil 01 Pro that we all desperately need.